What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 54 of the U.S.S. CERRITOS tutorial. I'm Zerrily, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Kind of a short one today, but we're going to be keeping it short and sweet. We're going to be working on officers' quarters. I haven't decided if this would actually be qualified as a captain's quarters or VIP quarters or officers' quarters. Um, if you guys have been with me throughout this tutorial, a lot of the reasons I'm building the CERRITOS is to prep myself for the Enterprise D. And I wanted my goal was to really build out the crew quarters in a way that I could complement how the Enterprise D crew quarters looked. But what happened is that I didn't realize this until later on. I think I talked about this after I put the corridors down. But long story short, um, due to the spacing that I did the two circular corridors, I ended up having a lot less room on the lip of the ship than I would have liked to. And that ended up giving me some constraints on what I was able to do. But without further ado, I'm not going to prolong this video anymore. We're going to be making our way to the front middle of the ship. Right now we're on the left. We're going to go over one more. I got a hole there. I'm going to fix that really quick. But pretty much what we're going to be building today, I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do with this room, strictly because of the space that I have to work with. As you can see here, not a lot of space at all. So it really kind of hurt us a little bit with trying to do something that was going to stay true to the Enterprise D. The other thing that I had a problem with was the windows. Because I had these big windows going above, I had to account for that when I was going to be spacing off, adding walls and things like that. So kind of going to be doing like a trial run on this one. This room came out okay. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but if you've seen some of my other rooms I did on the interiors, like I think this is probably like most closely resembles like the Admiral quarters that I did on the Disco era Enterprise, then also the Enterprise A. Um, just kind of because everything I had jotted down that I was going to do, I had to throw it away because it wasn't going to work with this. So there was going to be a couple of instances like this going forward on the CERRITOS. It's not necessarily a situation or position I want to be in, um, but yeah, I mean it kind of is what it is. If we ever build another CERRITOS or another California class ship, I think it's a California class, um, we'd have to move in our circular corridors a little bit more so we just have a little bit more space. But I mean, stuff like this is ultimately going to happen when you're building a ship for the first time. And we're just going to make do and try to do the best that we can. So you see I'm using the white terracotta to get me that nice cream tan look that feels in line with how the Enterprise D interior was. We're just going to space out this room. We're going to start with our entryway point, and then on the left side, we're going to convert that into like a living room area, and then the space directly to in front of us now, we're going to be converting that into the actual bedroom and then bathroom as well. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get an episode out yesterday. I had intended to, but uh, the Snyder Cut of Justice League came out yesterday, and I got home from work and I put that thing on as soon as I got home, and I don't know how familiar you are with that cut, but it's a 4-hour movie, so pretty much that's all I did last night. I watched that movie and I went to bed. Um, so I wasn't able to get out a video yesterday, but I've been waiting for that movie uh, for the past 3 years. I've been really looking forward to it, and I think I'm actually going to try to do something new on my YouTube channel. I think I'm going to do a review on it this weekend. So if that's something you want to see and you're excited about, let me know in the comments section. But it's not going to impede on anything that I have currently going on with the YouTube channel. I just want to try something new and see if I can get into doing that, just to have a little bit of extra content going along with my tutorials. Um, but yeah, that's why I didn't have an episode out yesterday, but there's still plenty of stuff to do on the Cerritos. I've had a couple people asking me on rooms that I still intend to add on it, and stuff that I've already built. Um, I've built the transporter room, which I love how that room came out on the ship. I liked it so much that when we make the Enterprise D, it's pretty much going to be almost a spot-on match. Um, and then also, um, what else did I build? There was one room that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but I know I also made the cargo room because I had a couple people asking me if I was going to do a cargo room as they wanted to see it. So I did do that, and that's the stuff that I have pre-built. But I'm still thinking about exactly how I'm going to do um, both the lounge and also the medical bay. But I'm going to end up running not this same exact problem that we're having here, but kind of pretty much the space that I have to work with. I'm not going to be able to build a spot on, one for one, perfect match of the lounge and also the medical bay. So basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to take some liberties with it and design something. But both times I got on to do it, I didn't come up with anything I liked, and I ended up deleting it and deleting the video, and then I ended up doing what you're seeing now, and then the transporter room. So I'm still trying to figure that out, but that's everything I have planned so far. I don't know if we're going to end up doing all the crew quarters. Um, we may end up calling it a day after that, after we go through the stuff I have pre-recorded. But like I said, if there's any stuff that you want to see me add on the Cerritos, now's the time to ask me, because once I call this thing done, we're probably not going to touch back on it unless season 2 of Lower Decks offers or shows up a room that's just too good to pass up. Um, I am going to be getting on this weekend to work on the Enterprise D. I'm going to try to finish the outside of it if I can. I've got um, a lot of it done, pretty much to a point where the main thing that's stopping me from starting the tutorial is that I just haven't finished the outside completely. I still have to close in the saucer, and then I still have to build out the bridge, and there's one or two things I have to fix on the saucer in order to do that. But like I said, I'm going to try to tackle that this weekend. Hopefully, I can get that done. I think in the worst case scenario, if it goes out where if I can't get it done this weekend, between this weekend and next weekend, I should be able to get everything done on the outside of the ship so that we can start the tutorial. But let's play it by ear. I don't want to give it an exact date until I know for sure that's going to happen. So I would just take that with a grain of salt right now until I give you more concrete information. But that's kind of where I'm looking right now, because I really I want to get the Enterprise D to a point where I have the outside done so I can take a screenshot. And this way, when you'll come and watch my video, the picture that you see that you click on, that's the ship that you're building. That's my goal. So that's one of the reasons I'm waiting to do that. And I also want to make sure I have enough content pre-recorded so once we do start it, I don't catch up with myself. So for whatever reason, if I get stuck on something or it takes me a little while to get around it, I have enough videos recorded so that won't be a problem, because I could see that being a thing here and there on the Enterprise D, simply because I've never built this ship before, and I found that the bigger you go with these ships, the harder they can be to build. It took me quite a while to get even. There was one specific area on the Enterprise D, the deflector dish. It was such a pain in the butt to get that right, but it has such a specific shape on it. Um, Everything I was doing, it just wasn't coming out the way I wanted to. But yeah, I mean, we'll get there. We're at the point where we're winding down the Cerritos. There's not going to be too many more episodes. I don't think we're in the top 60. I think we're going to end up somewhere in the 50s, 100% before this thing is done. Um, and then yeah, I mean, uh, I would like it to be in a perfect world where we just transition from the Cerritos into the Enterprise D, but I'm going to try to get it to a point where if there is a gap between those videos, that it's not a very long one, maybe like a week or two at the most. I think that was a similar thing when we did the Disco Era Enterprise to the Cerritos. I think I had like a week or two in between those two seasons starting, and I mean, I if you want those to come out sooner, I totally get it, but you got to understand too, these ships, they take time to build. And the way I look at it, the more time you take on them, and the more time you take, the more care you take, the better they're going to come out. You rush the ship, you're going to get a rushed build. That's just kind of how I look at it. So anyway, getting back in a little bit what we got going on here, you can see that I've just been building away here. We built out our bedroom. Now we're off into our bathroom and not doing a super complicated design. Um, I really wasn't able to do much more than a kind of basic design here. Um, and that was largely due just to being restricted by the amount of space that I had to work with. But that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes maybe it's good to be in the situation because it kind of like forces you to like flex your creative juices to see what you can come up with a limited space to work with. I don't know how accurate this would be to the Cerritos itself. Um, I'm going to say right now, disclaimer, that this is not accurate to how it looked in the show. I specifically just tried to make something to work within the space that I had that kind of felt like Next Generation. I will say though that the one thing I'm not happy with on this room is the floor. Um, Even when I put this carpet down, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that blue. Um, I don't know if I could have done maybe cyan, if that would have looked better. I really don't know. If you think if you can come up with a better color palette, let me know in the comments section. But it will have to be a form of carpet because we can't delete any of the blocks underneath us because then we'll be building on the outside of the ship. So any color that I make it, it'll have to be one of the carpet colors. But definitely interested to hear what everybody has to say about that. Yeah, if you've seen my admiral's quarters on the Disco Era Enterprise, you probably recognize this layout because it's almost spot on with how that room came out. And yeah, I mean, just trying to make it work with what I got. And yeah, I mean, I know that we're not going to have this problem when we hit the Enterprise D because there was really, well, and it wasn't even just the circular corridors itself that messed me up in this room. It was two things. It was a circular corridor, and then it was amount of space that I had to work with above me and below me. And I knew this building the ship out that the curve that I was making on the lip of the saucer, I was sacrificing some of the room on my ship. And it is what it is, you know. That's just something I decided, you know what? That's how I want it. At this point, I would rather that the outside of the ship looks right, and then maybe we got to make some changes to the inside to make that work, rather than the outside of the ship looks wrong, so we have enough room on the inside to work with. Um, it just kind of is what it is. But when we get in the Enterprise D, we're not going to have this problem at all. We're going to have more than enough room above us and below us, um, to where we can make the ceiling and the floor any color that we want. Um, I don't think we'll have enough room, at least along the lip of the saucer of the Enterprise D, where we can have more than one deck, but we'll at least have enough room to where we can swap out the blocks. As we move in closer towards the center of the saucer and the saucer expands in size, that's when you're going to see the extra layers in the deck come into play on the Enterprise D. Because it is pretty freaking big compared to the Cerritos. Um, when we start the Enterprise D, I might actually show you a teaser um, right before the tutorial starts, and I'll probably like whiz by the Cerritos and go up in the air so you can see just how much bigger the Enterprise D is. Because you can, like I've said this before, you can legit fit the Cerritos inside the saucer as far as the length of it. Maybe not the height, but at least 100% the length of the Cerritos you can fit with inside the saucer of the Enterprise D alone. Yeah, I mean, not a super long video today. I'm gonna rewind that a little bit so we can do one last pass on this thing. I'm just doing my doorways here. Unfortunately, we won't have enough room to do the automatic doors. Again, that's one of the sacrifices I had to make based off the size. But look at it this way: if you're going to be with me on the Enterprise D, this is practice for that ship. And that was my main purpose on doing this thing. And I learned a lot of things from building this. And it just kind of is what it is. Sometimes there's going to be one or two things maybe you're not happy with. But I think at the end of the day, um, this room altogether looks pretty good. You know, we've got our next generation era long windows, and it kind of feels like a next generation era room, even though it's not 100% accurate to how it should look. You know, see on this side we kind of have like a living room area where like this would be like a TV, and then directly behind us we've already seen the bedroom and bathroom, so there's no real reason to go back into that. But yeah, you know, not a super long video. I was able to bang this thing out within 13 minutes, and decided I'm not going to tack on the next episode into it. I'm just going to let that play out, so this way I have a little bit of content to get me out to the Enterprise D. But like I said, I know that we're not going to be going over 60 episodes. We may end up even cutting it just before that, but I know at least 60 or under, that's what we're going to end up with on the Cerritos. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. If you did enjoy this content, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Also, new subscribers, don't forget to hit that notifications on so you get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, don't forget you can always catch my Starship Evo builds dropping on Mondays. My Minecraft videos dropping Tuesdays through Fridays, and those videos drop at 7 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. Just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe weekend, and I'll catch you on next week's episode.